you're an NPC.
Let's rock!
When you depend on me
To give you
weapons and
insight,
information
for your journey and still you still shit
trying to hurt me.
Let's talk!
When you're an NPC.
Let's rock!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Crit or Miss. Now, on this week, sadly, I have been quite busy. I am going to be a groomsman in my friend's wedding. I have academic pursuits. I've been working on a couple of extracurricular things, which is the reason why I look as sweaty as I do right now. So, today, we're going to be looking at a handful of quick reviews for mini games that you can find on Drive Thru RPG for free or free-ish. One of the great things about Drive Thru RPG is that just about anything can go up there. You no longer need a publishing deal in order to get an RPG out and onto the markets. Even those that are free are maybe even $1 or $2 or even less than that. As such, Drive Thru RPG has a vast number of free or almost free games for you to go and try out with your friends. And they range wildly in quality, and most of them only span about a handful of pages on a PDF file, if that. So they make a breeze to go through as well. So we're going to be looking at 4 mini RPGs today. So we're going to be starting off with Pisskids Ratbags. Then we're going to talk about Cuil. After that, we're going to be talking about the Weird West, and finally, Heads or Tails. So when it comes to Pisskids Ratbags, the game is actually based on the popular television show The Bachelorette, or The Bachelor. In this case, the game takes a theory created by Griffin and Rachel McElroy, stating that everybody who's on the show, The Bachelorette, is nothing more than a piss kid or a rat bag. A piss kid being a whiny, entitled, needy, and useless individual, while the rat bag is manipulative, slimy, gross, and or angry. The game is basically just either a dice and LARP sort of combination. The idea being that you have a storyteller with a handful of people playing the Bachelor/Bachelorette characters. You are welcome to roll a d20 to choose which role you play. The game is at least an intriguing concept, and if you happen to be one of the 10 to 12 nerds out there who likes RPGs as well as reality shows such as The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, then this game's right up your alley. It's going to be really hard to find the willing group of people who's willing to give this a go, but especially if you want to do a more satire-esque RPG, kind of an in-joke sort of fun, Pisskids Ratbags is actually pretty cool. Not only does it take an interesting concept in The Bachelorette and turns it into an RPG, which honestly is something I didn't think possible. So as such, this one's getting a crit. The next game on the docket is Cuil. Now, for those of you who do not know what a Cuil is supposed to be a measurement for weirdness, and it goes by the red dye hamburger scale. It goes all the way up to 7 Cuils, and I'm not going to read them all off right now because some of them are humongous, but the essential idea is if you're at 0 Cuils and I gave you a hamburger, things go exactly as expected. You get the hamburger. At 1 Cuil, if you asked me for a hamburger and I gave you a raccoon. Now, for 2 Cuils, if you asked me for a hamburger, but it turns out I don't really exist, where I was originally standing, a picture of a hamburger rests on the ground. At 3 Cuils, you wake up as a hamburger. You start screaming only to have special sauce fly from your lips. The world is in sepia. And so forth. From there, it gets a little long. So, the general idea being is that you're going to play a game based around this concept, and really, as interesting and intriguing as the game can at least be in the way that it is written, it's still just a little too strange in order to actually be playable. Granted, as far as taking the concept of Cuil and measurements and turning it into an RPG, the people behind this one definitely did the best that they could. So they at least get points for trying. But at the same time, this is just a little too weird. It's a little too avant-garde, I think, to be a very successful RPG. If you're into Cuil and if you're into really surrealist sort of comedy, maybe, but for me it's getting a miss. The next game on the docket is a game called Weird West, created by Stuart Robertson. And I'm not entirely sure. I feel like this was meant to be a much larger game that ended up being a non-entity because it does not feel finished. It feels like a very basic rule set. It's kind of one of those games that comes on Drive Thru RPG that you get a pre-release for, which to me just seems extremely odd, but I digress. Or a game that is in production and you get a little like demo of it. This is just, it's bad, and it's bad for a very simple reason. And that reason is that I know of this game, I've seen this game before. This game is called Deadlands, and is done in a much more well-done variety than Weird West. Now, I'm not saying that Weird West as a concept, or even that the stuff that Stuart Robertson presents in this game is not great. I think that it is, but considering the fact that Deadlands and Weird West are too close to not see a very heavy comparison between the two, and quite frankly, this is no way to compete against Deadlands. As such, instead of playing Weird West, go play Deadlands. Miss. The last one for today is a game called Heads or Tails, and it's meant to be an RPG-light sort of adventure. Unlike Pisskids Ratbags, which I think are done by the same person, this one is not so much setting up a story as it is just giving you a coin flip system. So, simplistically speaking, you can run just about any game you want, and all you have to do is have a coin flip. For a little bit more fun, you also have tokens such as bottle caps, popcorn, and pretzel sticks. So, there's a little bit of creativity in here. And even though there isn't much else to this two-page RPG besides the basics of this system, it really is kind of cool to see a very, very rules-light system. So if you're the kind of people who just really like to create very interesting and expansive worlds with a very simplistic system, then Heads or Tails is pretty much the game for you. So as far as Heads or Tails is concerned, it is definitely getting a crit. This one is at least fascinating to look at, and really good for a very rules-light sort of RPG, or even a party-like setting. So, as such, Pisskids Ratbags and Heads or Tails both get crits, while Cuil and Weird West tragically get misses. I would like to thank you all so much for watching, and please come back next week whenever I have less of a busy schedule and a little bit more sleep on hand. Till next time.